Along the way, I always learn something. Every day there's a new lesson for me. So I always want to see the end of everything that I face. I want to see the change. I want to see people believe that they are part of whatever is happening in the world. It's bad because I grew up next to the game reserve. The wild were already fenced when we grew up. So we didn't have that understanding of what is happening inside the game reserve, which is something that we're trying to do now, to engage a lot of it with the people and bring them inside the game reserve so that they can have that feeling. We as humans have the connection with the wildlife. Game reserve are only maybe 100 years old, and people they were there before. Animals were there. Animals were living with the people, and people were living with the wild. So let's try and work this out and make our ancestors be proud of us that now we're going back into our roots and we are trying to protect what we have.
Conservation is a global issue and it's a global responsibility. As a species, we're very disconnected from nature, we're very disconnected from the environment, and that's playing itself out in the local context. As conservationists, as rangers, we're very focused, we have our heads down, trying to stop this onslaught, this pressure on our wildlife and pressure on our protected areas.
Protecting our resources is critical, and if you don't have that connection, you don't feel that responsibility to protect those resources.
So SANParks in Kruger specifically does have a big people and parks department and then a socio-economic transformation department that are just focused on awareness, getting the message out there, getting buy-in from the communities, but then also partnering with various organizations to take projects to the communities to improve sort of their situations. We are definitely acutely aware that we cannot win this war or whatever we're trying to achieve without the input and the buy-in from the communities, and just starting with the youth to try and change that mindset in trying to see the value of Kruger and what benefits can be derived from it. We are working hard on it to try and sort of change the image of a ranger again and try to make people understand the value and the importance, and that without not just the rhino but without the lions and the wild dogs we won't get tourists to come. And we've just seen the impact of COVID, of not having those international tourists that come, because they are the ones who invest and buy the curios and stay in the guest houses outside and do the game drives that, you know, are done by a lot of outside and community based projects.
The word problem is an understatement. It's not just affecting the ecosystems, it's affecting society. We have societies or communities that are just made out of poaching. Skills that children should be learning in school, they're not learning to. They're learning to dive and get money from poaching. So it's not just an ecological problem, it's a human problem. It's goosebumps.
Finding my way back home. All the years seem so long.
Unfortunately for us on the ground, we can do only so much. The problem is that people start forgetting about it. It becomes like a story that people get tired of talking about, but it's still happening. The rhino numbers are going down, and it's now become a situation where even in places like Mfolozi and Kruger, etc., it's getting to the stage where the numbers are getting to a level where losing 10 rhino in 1 month is completely unacceptable, and it's something that's now accelerating the decline.
Bring me home, bring me through the storm, though the waves misbehave.
In saving our protected species and crucial species, the fight will never end. There will always be somebody that will try and make use of the species or try and make money out of our species and all our wildlife.
There's a lot of work being done to reconnect people with nature, a lot of work being done bringing kids into nature, into these protected areas, showing them what wildlife is and what nature and how our lives depend on and how our lives are connected to that. And I think that needs to happen at the global scale.
I'm just driven by wanting to make a difference. I think if I feel like I'm not making a difference or I'm not contributing, that's what keeps me awake at night. I can't say that I can come in and save Kruger or save the rhino, but certainly I will give it my all and be very committed to the ranges. It's a lot of it is about the ranges. We focus on the rhino. You know, we see all these slogans that say for the rhino and save the rhino, but the ranges have actually a little bit been forgotten in all of this and the work that they do. So we need to shift the focus back to the rangers and empower them, because without them we're not going to save the rhino in any case.
Conservation is not only ending up in a game reserve, but it also carries out into the community. Protecting whatever you have, that means you protect the area that you're living in and the resources that you have. Those are the nature. It doesn't mean to be inside the fence. Even outside the fence, you need to take care of whatever you have.